investigators are sifting through tens of thousands of emails belonging to two prominent defense attorneys in Baltimore. Now, according to the Baltimore Sun, federal agents raided the separate offices of these defense attorneys, Ken Ravenell and Joshua Treem, in June, and copied 50,000 emails to and from Treem. Now, in this case, Joshua Treem is defending Ken Ravenell, even though he is also a defense attorney. Now, federal prosecutors are going after Ravenell, claiming that he is involved in some sort of drug trafficking scheme. Questions have swirled since federal agents raided their offices. Neither man, by the way, has been charged with a crime, and federal prosecutors have continued their investigation under a court-ordered seal. Officials say, or officials declined to discuss the matter. Now, here's what everyone should be concerned about. They just copied all these emails, even though through all of them, like there's 50,000 they copied, only about 119 of them are relevant to the case they're investigating. So there are other clients included in those emails, and the federal authorities have access to them, and they're claiming, no, don't worry about it. We're only gonna look at the ones that are relevant to this case. Sure, like who's gonna trust them on that?
Right.
Yeah.
What's so upsetting about this, the first one is, they were able to do something that could be so damaging to a lot of people when these two attorneys involved here are not charged with any crime yet. This is just part of the investigation. And you will have people at home saying, well, if they didn't commit a crime, then it won't matter. Do you ever watch First 48 and are like, shut up? What? Shut up, stop talking, shut up. Like, and it's like, it's not that easy. That's why people say don't say anything when you're being investigated, when you're being questioned by the police until you have an attorney there, because it's not always just the guilty people that get in trouble. It's not always just the guilty people who don't get to go home. And defense attorneys have to defend some of the worst of the worst. And it's easy to hate defense attorneys, but they also defend due process, other aspects, our rights. They defend our rights. They are, I think, one of the most important parts of the system. They defend our rights. They defend the process as it's supposed to work. And your emails to your attorney, we are just supposed to believe that they're gonna look away from all of the ones. They took 50,000 emails when only 113 have anything to do with what they're investigating. We're supposed to believe they're just gonna turn a blind eye to anything else they come across.
That's exactly right. And okay, so let me tell you, again, neither one of them have been charged with anything. But here are the accusations according to the lead prosecutor in this case. In his written argument, Assistant US Attorney Derek Hines told judges that Ravenell was under investigation for, quote, assisting drug dealers to sell drugs, laundering the proceeds of drug dealers, and then attempting to cover up their crimes by obstructing investigations. Now, I have a lot of questions about this case, and it isn't in the reports. I wanna know whether federal investigators had a warrant by a judge to do all this, right? Because there hasn't been any reporting indicating that they have a warrant, and there's a panel of judges who are going to make a decision about whether or not it is legal for them to obtain and copy all 50,000 emails. Why is it taking so long for them to make that decision when you know that attorney-client privilege is supposed to be protected?
Right. No, when I showed up to the studio, because the producer sent me the story before I got here, and I got to the studio and I had to go to Brooke, and I was like, am I reading this correctly? Like I just didn't understand. Wild, right? I was like, did I miss something? Like, how is this possible that these people aren't charged with a crime and they're just seizing their emails like that, like if it was nothing?
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, they're basically accusing of being the Avion Barksdale attorney in The Wire, like something like that. But unless you're charging someone with a crime, I don't understand how you can just, hey, just give me the emails. No, I'm gonna take them from you, like no problem.
An attorney breaking attorney-client privilege could lose their license.
Yeah, they can get disbarred.
But the feds can just swim through it. This is just,
it's weird.
And if these judges make the wrong decision and they allow this type of behavior to stand, that sets precedent.
Oh my God, the abuse, the potentials of abuse are, because okay, say this guy is dirty, whatever, whatever. That's not the problem. The problem is, when like an ACLU lawyer is defending an immigrant or something, or someone who's being heinously targeted by law enforcement, whatever. Like that's when the other side comes, and that's when this kind of precedent is very dangerous.
Yeah, and so the IRS is involved in this investigation because there's possible money laundering involved. And so there was an example given in the reporting that talked about, well, what about someone who didn't pay their taxes and they needed this defense attorney to get involved? And if the IRS is involved in this investigation, they come across that email about a client who didn't pay their taxes, or if there was some sort of tax fraud or tax scheme, is that person who's not involved in this case also implicated because the IRS has access to these emails? Now they're claiming, no, don't worry about it. We are outsourcing the review of these emails to a third party, so there isn't any worry about the violation of attorney-client privilege, but there is. The federal government and these federal prosecutors now have access to 50,000 emails, many of which have nothing to do with this case whatsoever.
Yeah. That was like what the NSA said after the Snowden revelations. We're not looking at any of the stuff. We're just collecting all the stuff, and then it comes out obviously that they're like sharing your nudes with each other and stuff, and like spying on their ex-girlfriends and
the illegal wiretapping that happened under the Bush administration. They claimed, no, there's nothing shady going on, but then we found out that there were members of the military listening in on phone sex conversations. So that's what you can expect from the federal government when they say, don't worry, you can trust us with your personal information.
On the go, don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.